DJ PK, and we're joined now by Aaron Roderick, BYU offensive coordinator. A-Rod, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. I know you had much higher hopes/expectations for the team than many people, but I'm curious if not just being 5-0, but the way they've gotten to 5-0, if they've hit the high end of your expectations or overachieved them a little bit.
Well, the record is at the high end. You know, the record's pretty darn good so far. We haven't hit my high expectations yet. We're, at least offensively, we're still getting better. I think we're moving in the right direction and getting better every game. But a lot of things we got to keep working on. But 5-0 is where you want to be after 5 games, and bye week came at a perfect time for us to get some guys healthy and gives us a chance to work on some of those deficiencies that we need to improve on.
How does your game planning change and your play calling change with the 2 top running backs and without the 2 top running backs?
A little bit, but not a lot. That's been that's one of the bright spots of our team this year is doesn't matter who's in there. We just keep playing, and we haven't had to change our game plan much. I would say the Wyoming game, that was one where we were a little bit more vanilla in the run game that week for the running backs. But other than that, I mean, Kansas State and Baylor game, both, we just counting on those guys that know the offense and go out there and play, and they've done that. And so credit to Harvey. He's done a great job getting those guys ready. And then each one's had their moments.
While you were talking, there's a TV on over here, and they just showed the Derrick Henry's long touchdown run, and it was blocked up so perfectly. And he just hit the hole, cut behind a block. It was perfect. And it brings up the question, no matter how good the back is, Derrick Henry's awesome, he needs the O-line to block it up perfectly. Yeah. So when you say the running game is good, is the running game 70% O-line, 30% back? Is it 50-50, 90? How do you view that?
Well, it's definitely, it's the blocking that is most responsible for a good run game. I think that, that's one of the reasons why you see in the NFL, I don't know, they treat running backs like they're interchangeable in that league, and they spend money on people that can block and spend money on quarterbacks, but anyway, I think our running backs have done a good job. I think our O-line is improving every game. We're nowhere near where we wanted to get to. Our tight ends have improved a lot this year. They've taken a huge step forward in the run game. And the run game is an 11-man deal every play. That's receivers, tight ends, O-line. And we do a lot of check plays in our offense too. So it's our quarterback getting us into the right run play or getting us out of a bad run play. That's part of it too. So I think we're going in the right direction, but we're not there yet.
Connor Pace talking about being out for at least of October, see if he can come back in November. He had the injury, and you had to adjust on the fly in the Baylor game. Now with a bye to get ready for Arizona next week, knowing that he's going to be gone, what are you looking at as far as formations?
Well, we're toying with some different. That's one of the blessings of having this bye is we get to toy with some different lineups and see which one we think can work the best for us. And offensive line is another position this year where we had I think we've played 3 different right guards this year due to injuries. Wasn't that any of them didn't play well, just different guys have had to step up. And of course, last game, Sonny Mocassini had to step up at center. And so, but he's been our starting right guard. So we just need to figure out what the best combination is there. But I have a lot of confidence that we'll just, Connor's a tough guy to replace, but I have a lot of confidence that we'll have somebody step up and we'll keep playing. And I know Connor will do anything he can to help whoever that guy is get ready to play in his absence.
I know you thought that one of the big advantages you had coming into this year versus last year was the continuity. You had so many guys back. They were familiar with the system. They're familiar with each other, and you thought there'd be some payoff there. Do you feel like you've really gotten that payoff, or because you've had to play so many guards, you've had to play so many running backs, has it just been guys just adapting to the constant change?
I think the continuity has definitely shown at times. Yes, it's been a big deal. I mean, you just look at what a different player Darius Lassiter is now compared to a year ago. I mean, he was a good player a year ago. Now he is an every down player who knows our whole offense and can do everything off the field. Keelan Marion is another guy who's like that. Those tight ends, those guys were all new last year, and they're all playing really well for us. Jake's in his second year in this offense now. He's starting. He's almost getting enough games under his belt now where you could say he's almost a full season starter. We're getting there. So yes, the continuity has been huge. Caleb Etienne is a completely different player than he was a year ago, and it's mostly due to just he was talented last year, but now he knows what he's doing, and he's playing next to Waylon Lakwahu for a whole year. And Waylon was a transfer last year. So, yeah, it goes on and on. So, yes, it's definitely showing up. Now, the injuries do affect continuity at times, but you can't worry about that. That's football, and the injuries are going to happen, and you have to adjust. No one's going to wait for you to for you. I think the continuity has been a big part of why we've been able to plug some guys in and not have everything fall apart.
As I look at this 5-0 start, if I pick number one storyline, which I think is the best, I'm going to go to the quality of the defense, right? I think they've played outstanding defense. Obviously, you just point back to that SMU game and what SMU's been able to do since losing to BYU. I'm wondering, as a play caller, how much does the quality of your defense play into the actual plays that you call in a given portion of the game?
Well, it does have an impact at times in certain situations. I think more than anything, though, we have a philosophy of playing as a team. Our brand of winning is team ball, and it's offense, defense, special teams have to fit together. If you look at the end of the season, you look at stats, like a lot of times you'll see, whoever leads the national leaders in total offense or something like that, which is a stat that doesn't have a lot to do with winning or losing. A few of those teams will be really good, and a few of those teams will be 7-5, 6-6, something like that, because they don't play team football, or vice versa. Sometimes you see teams that rank really high in defense, but their offense isn't very good. And so what we're doing, I think this is experience that Jay and Kalani and I have working together all these years, is we have a brand of football where the style of offense we play, I think, allows for them to play great defense. And then I think the style of defense they're playing is really helping us offensively because they're getting a lot of turnovers for us. And we're playing well on special teams. So we haven't had a lot of long fields this year. We've had a lot of short fields. We've had mostly good field position throughout the course of the season, and that's the three phases work well together. And we have an offense that eats a lot of clock, where that's by design. We're a team, we want to chew up clock and be efficient with our possessions, get points with our possessions, and give our defense some time to rest so they come back on the field and get another takeaway for us. And that cycle is part of how we play. And it is not by accident. That is completely by design, and it's something we talk about every week, and our players understand it, and everybody's all bought in.
BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick joining us. The bye week gives you an extra week to figure out Arizona. And Arizona's a team that just got bullied and dominated by Kansas State, and then you think, well, that's going to be a major problem against the Utes, and they play their best game and they win the game. So who are they really? Is there something that happened to them in one game and not in another that you can attack that and do that? What have you been able to see from them on film?
Well, I think one thing that changed, I think they changed play callers on offense, and against K-State, they couldn't run the ball at all. I think they had like 20 or 30 yards rushing the whole game. And against Utah, they managed to, obviously the Utes are a great defense, but they managed to run the ball well enough on offense to have some balance. And that's when that quarterback and receiver becomes so dangerous that they can just have a little bit of balance. They didn't have any of that balance in the K-State game. Now, I'm not going against their offense directly, but it does have a factor in. It does factor into the whole team game. So I think that was the biggest difference between those two games, was just they found a way to run it a little bit better in the last couple weeks. But defensively, they present a lot of problems. They're very athletic. and play a lot of man coverage. They've got 2 DBs that are for sure NFL players. I think one of the corners is a projected first-round pick. They have great length in the secondary, and they just play really hard on defense. And so I'm glad we have an extra week to try to be ready for them.
From the outside perspective, it looks like and appears to me that Coach Sitake gives you virtually 100% autonomy, which means that he has as much confidence in you that he can have. What does that mean to you as a play caller to have the head coach have your back 100% of the time?
Yeah, it's great. And, Kalani and I go way back, and we've won a lot of games together. And I would say trust is we're not best buddies. We're professionals that have a lot of trust in each other to do their jobs. And I trust him. He does a great job with our team. Our players love playing for him, and they love him. And that is sort of the secret sauce. I think with us right now is in college football, there's so many things that are about the individual and about how much money people are making or about their own stats or whatever and their own brand. And our players, I think, truly just love playing football and love playing for Kalani. And that's one of it's almost cheesy, but it's like, that's really a real thing with us. And so I appreciate that about him because he fields a team that loves the game and wants to play hard. And then it's my job to point him in the right direction and score enough points to win. And, right now we're at 31 points a game. I'd like to get that up a little higher, going down the stretch and see if I can, do my job better for him. But that is true. I do feel total trust from him, and he has always had my back, and I'll always have his.
You mentioned the 31 points a game. And you've scored 34 twice, 38 against K-State, 41 against Southern Illinois, only 18 against SMU. But when I look at it, I think the second half of the SMU game, the offense was pretty good. The first half, that was a problem. And the second half of the Baylor game, I see those two halves as really the only red flags along the way. Everything else has gone pretty well. So when you look at those two halves, what goes wrong in those situations? What do you need to be better at to avoid 30 minutes of football like that down the road?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's something we've been spending this time this week on. I would say the first thing I would say is let's give both of those teams credit. Those are really good defenses. I knew when we played SMU that was a good defense. I don't know what everybody else thought, but we watched them on film. I've been coaching a long time, and they have good players, and they know what they're doing, and they're playing good defense. And Baylor too. They're a good defense as well. I don't know how many offenses have scored 31 points on Dave Aranda ever in a half. I think it's maybe happened once in his whole career. So that was a good half. And then you're right, that second half, if anything, I think we were a little bit too aggressive. At the halftime, we were talking about let's keep the pedal down. We had a 3-score lead, but we knew that they, we wanted to stay aggressive, and we turned the ball over twice in that second half, throwing the ball on third down, 2 passes on third down where, in both cases, especially the second one was a 3rd and short. We might have been better off running it. And then you either get the first down or you can go for it on 4th down. And, we had a couple of drive killing plays in that second half where took a shot on the first play of the half to Darius down the field. We weren't able to come up with it. Darius played an awesome game, but wasn't able to come up with it. And then I got a little too greedy and came right back to him for another deep ball a couple plays later. And Jake was a little off on the throw. And then we threw another deep ball to Darius on the next possession and was incomplete. And that kind of set us back. And then we threw a double pass in the red zone, which should have been pass interference. That was clearly pass interference, but we didn't get the call. So some of those plays killed some drives in the second half where maybe I was trying to do a little too much for the team to get the ball pushed down the field, or we could have just maybe thrown shorter or a little more intermediate and run game and keep the chains moving and eat some clock. With a 3-score lead, you just want to stay on the field and keep the clock running. And that was it. And then the SMU game was we just turned the ball over in that, and those turnovers cost us the points when we thought we played a really solid second half in that game and found a way to win. And that is the name of the game, is finding a way to win. And that's what we've done so far. And now we want to play a little cleaner in these next, this next stretch of games.
What's your philosophy on fourth downs? In the last couple of games, as I've been watching on television, the announcer's been pointing that out, and they've been going about you and how you're looking at third down is just that. It's not the end. And so I'm wondering about your philosophy there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that, because if you just look at our third down stat, it's not great. But our conversion, we call it conversion downs, because a lot of times on third down, we have an analytics book that we follow every week, and a lot of teams do it. And I know a lot of teams almost every team in our league is using the same philosophy, and it's really hard to convert third and eight. Third and eight, you have a pretty slim chance, but if you can get yourself to third and 4, third and 3, then now your odds of converting on that fourth down go up to 50, 55, 60%. And so a lot of times we're playing to get to a manageable number, but then there's always that side where, okay, the defense knows you're trying to do that, so maybe they'll give you something past the sticks, so that it becomes that game. But to answer your question, yes, we believe in using all 4 downs when the time is appropriate and when the analytics say so, and the math is usually right. And there are times for gut feel, and Kalani's got a pretty good gut instinct at times when he'll say, hey, go for it or punt it. But most of them are pretty cut and dried. It says, hey, if you get to this part of the field and you're within this range, you should use all 4 downs. We're ready to use it, and we don't hesitate. We just call the play and roll. And we've been very, very good on fourth down. That's one area up to this point in the season. I think we're 9 for 11 or 10 for 12 on fourth down this season so far. So that's something you're going to continue to see. It's something we've been doing it since 2020, and we just got away from it a little bit last year, but definitely part of our offense.
When it comes to turnovers, how many of them are bad luck and how many of them are things that you got to coach up? There has to be better decision-making and better execution.
Well, they all count. So, every one of them counts, whether it's bad luck or not. So that's, we have to be accountable for those and figure out ways to improve. But, I think each one is its own thing and has to be looked at in its own context. And so, with turnovers, for example, we had 0 turnovers against Kansas State, and we had 1 against Wyoming that was, it wasn't a play that I felt was anything to, get upset about. Saturday, we had 2 critical turnovers on third down, and one of them, I was probably just a little too greedy trying to throw the ball down the field too much with the play call. And then I thought it was clearly pass interference on both of our receivers that were both getting mugged. We didn't get the call, and the ball got away from Jake a little bit. But at the end of the day, you can live with that one. I mean, it's just that's going to happen in football, and it wasn't a game-breaking type of play, but we definitely need to do better. And then the one that got tipped, we had an open receiver. He was throwing to the right guy. Maybe we can protect on the edge a little better with our running back had pretty tough matchup. But if we protect just a little better on the edge, it's first down. Guy makes a good play and ball gets tipped. So those types of plays are going to happen in this game. The ones that you got to avoid now are, trying to do too much, fumbling a snap, just those egregious ones. Those are the ones we're trying to cut out. And Jake's done a good job of cutting those out of his game. I mean, we haven't had any of those wild plays like what's he doing plays, that popped up a little bit last year. Haven't had much of that this year other than a couple plays in the SMU game.
If Kalani's got your back in coaching, who's got your back in the media?
Well, I don't know, because I really don't know. Who does have my back? Maybe you guys could tell me.
Oh, come on.
It can't be you, PK. Plenty of people have told us you hate BYU, so it can't be you.
I do.
I mean, he did make it to Provo twice in
3
fall
times.
camp, I think it was.
3. You
times.
keep
Okay.
shorting me one.
That's 3 more times than you did in the last 3 years. So
That is not true. All right, there it goes. Me having your back, it's gone now.
It's gone. It's gone. All right.
Thanks, A-Rod. We appreciate it.
Hey, good to be on.
All right, Aaron Roderick, BYU offensive coordinator, join us right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, we got to take a break. Frank Dolce's coming up after the top of the hour. Riley Jensen in the 9 o'clock hour. Stay with us.